It's time for Cutting Edge Consciousness with Freeman Michaels and Barnett Bain. Thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
And welcome to Cutting Edge Consciousness. Freeman Michaels here.
With Barnett Bain. It's good to see you after
nice
your
to be back.
week away.
Yeah.
How was that week away?
It was great. I love the show. I like Mark Nepo a lot. Wow, that was a fantastic
Mark
show.
Mark is really something. As a matter of fact, he sent me a gift this morning, a poem that he wrote. Gorgeous. I will share it with you later. Or I'll email it to you. Beautiful.
Yeah, we should post it.
We will post it. That's a terrific idea. We'll put it up on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Little plug for our Facebook page there. So feel free, folks, to come and you can't plug that enough. To come and visit us on our Facebook page. Us, because God knows we like to be liked.
I want to talk about the 41st girl. Now, let me set this up a little bit.
Sure.
Over coffee this morning, you were sharing with me a conversation you had with Cynthia Kersey.
Yeah, the lovely Cynthia Kersey.
Who may come into play later on in today's conversation.
She may be relevant.
I don't know. Possibly. And I love this conversation, and it was regarding the 41st girl. So let's go ahead and talk about what that means, the 41st girl principle.
Well, we have already adapted this language, the 41st girl. We've already taken it on as part of our languaging. So you will be hearing about this often again. The 41st girl. So I'm on the phone last night with Cynthia, and she's telling me a story that she is crafting based on an absolutely true story that she is crafting in order to be the marquee story and that she will use as she goes forward with her gala charity event later this year.
Which we strongly support and enjoy every year, the Unstoppable Foundation Gala event in Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles.
Yep.
And you will be hearing much about this from us as we come nearer to the event.
Yep.
But in the meantime, we'll stick with the 41st girl.
Yep.
So there is a school that was contributed to, built by Cynthia's organization, the Unstoppable Foundation, in partnership with one or two others. And it was an all-girls high school. There were 40 girls.
In Africa.
In Africa.
A very, very poor region.
Very rural, very poor.
Girls in particular have little or no opportunity.
No resources, no prospects, no future. And so this is a godsend. And here is this brand new facility, this brand new high school, the first of its kind in the region. And they have room for 40 young women, 40 girls there. The day comes, the grand opening of the school, and over the hill trudges the 41st girl. The 40 girls in their little uniforms take one look at this newcomer, and there's no place, there's no room in the facility for a 41st girl. Rather than turn her away, they huddle frantically amongst themselves, and they say, well, we could push our beds together, we'll share our books, she can have half my pencil. You cannot send her off.
Yeah.
Because we understand the life that she would be destined to live into if we send her away.
Yeah.
And so the 40 girls prevail upon the administration and the powers that be, and miraculously, there is room made for the 41st girl. So this story is so moving to me, and it's so powerful.
It is.
So as you were mentioning at coffee, we were talking about it in the context of the miraculous. It feels like such a miraculous event to that little girl, the 41st girl. That was certainly a miracle. And for the 40 girls who found it in themselves to find the solidarity and to make a difference and to be impacted in such a way that they would change the life of the 41st girl forever. That is also miraculous. And we were wondering, well, what are the qualities of the miraculous? What are the qualities of a miracle?
Well, and what this story illustrates for me is we've all been in moments in our lives, that 41st girl. You know, we've all been that person that something occurred that that by all rights isn't possible, right? There's only 40 spots, 40 beds. It's established. There can't be 41. It's a done deal. And no one would ever anticipate that. You don't anticipate miracles. They happen. And there's always this moment where, some portal of possibility opens up that previously didn't exist. So whatever
literally doesn't exist as a possibility. Something that is larger, something that is more expansive than our capacity to imagine.
And it changes everything. It changes everything.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
And then we were wondering also over coffee, the impact of this on everybody involved, on the 40 and on the 1 and on the listening, just on the listening.
Yeah, just hearing the story right now.
Story. When I heard it from Cynthia last night, just the impact that it had on me. And we realized that one of the qualities of a miracle is that it allows those who are parties to it to be changed. And if it doesn't, if we're not changed, then it is not miraculous.
Yeah.
It has to entirely reconfigure our sense of ourselves. Deepen our heart, deepen our connection, deepen our sense of what is possible, deepen our sense of what is probable. It just completely restructures who we are.
So I want to invite a friend of this show.
And a friend of Cynthia Kersey.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Come to think of it.
By the way, to join
How's
this
that
conversation.
for a miracle? Talk about miracles.
See what happens.
So we have coincidences upon coincidences.
Yeah.
That's as good a definition of a miracle as any are bundles.
Bundles of synchronicities and coincidences.
Bundles of coincidence. So I want to welcome our guest and our dear friend today. He is president and the CEO of Avatar Resources. That's a consulting firm. For the one or two of you that don't know, with offices based out of Seattle, with offices in 5 countries. He's also a distinguished associate professor at Beijing University.
Yeah.
And his name is Blaine Bartlett, and we are really glad to have you here with us on Cutting Edge Consciousness, Blaine.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, serendipitously and synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
See how that happens?
We only have people here that can say that.
5 times fast.
Will never be the same.
Yeah.
So, Blaine, the power of a miracle, of the miraculous. I bet you have 1 or 2 things to stir into that conversation.
Yeah, I was listening to the two of you, and I was just struck by both the focus on this, because it's been something that's been a part of my life as a focal point, literally, for about the last 3 years. And we can get into some conversation about that. But the idea of the qualities of the miraculous. What is a miracle? Cynthia to me is a miracle. And I'll just put a disclaimer out there right now. I'm married to her, so
you are?
Yes, I am.
That is amazing.
Truly, it is truly amazing. And we can come back to that one as well. But the quality of a miracle, I think in large part, has not to do just with its impact on others, but it's also, Freeman, you had mentioned don't anticipate them, they just happen.
Yeah.
I actually think one of the qualities of a miracle is that if you're really beginning to pay attention to them, you can begin to anticipate them. Life in its unfolding is a miracle.
Yeah.
And I think, what's ascribed as being the human condition is actually not the human condition at all. It's just a whole lot of folks being asleep at the switch. The human condition is being awake to miracles.
I love that. But it's always, so at least from my experience, because I think you're right. In fact, Barnett and I often talk about sort of stepping into the mystery and allowing things to be miraculous, seeing them in this more, with more depth and more width and like, wow. But there's always this kind of moment where it's like my breath is taken away. There's these moments which, again, when we talk about the quality, the underlying quality in a miracle, that sort of sense of how, even though I guess I'm agreeing with you, we can become more expecting of, and we can have more of a relationship with the miraculous, but there's always this kind of take your breath away moment. You know what I'm talking about?
I absolutely know what you're talking about. There's that sense of awe.
That's right. Because we could never have planned it in the way that it plays out. There's always this sense that, anything can happen, and it's never what you think it's going to be.
the word planning that you use there, Barnett and I, along with another friend of ours, were having lunch the other day, and the planning word came up. And I think plans do get in the way of miracles, or not so much get in the way of miracles. They get in the way of appreciating a miracle for what it is. It's that and I use the word here, unexpected. It's the happenstance that occurs where, when I am awake and paying attention to it, there is that state of awe, and it's also concomitant with being in the experience of being in flow. It can't not be any other than what it is now. It's just kind of like, how could I have not seen that this could be true?
When we allow mind to supersede brain, we open to the miraculous. There is a thinning of the veil between the structured life that we live of logic and reason, of dragging our history and our past into the present and projecting it out into what is possible for us. But when we come to a place where the veil between that sense of ourselves, that knowing of ourselves, and on the other side of that veil is the infinite possibility, we're exposed to the miraculous. It just kind of informs us in ways beyond our ability to have any logical relationship with it. It's just the ultimate mind blower, and we can be changed forever from it. It puts us into a place of humility. Just because every crow I've ever seen was black does not mean that in the very next second I might not see a white one.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that the three of us are having this conversation, because what is present for me is there's almost a way we're talking about planning for the unplanned possibility. That sort of sense that
lightly held.
Yeah, there's a reliance on something yet to arrive that will change the moment. What is that? I mean, there's this, but it clearly three guys who at least have cultivated
we're jazz conversationalists.
A sensibility that this is a rich part of the human experience.
Thelonious Michaels.
That worked.
I love it.
Thelonious Bartlett.
Planning for the end. I mean, there's a sense that one way that we deaden ourselves to the miracle that life is, and the miracle that life can be appreciated as offering, is to get into routine. And I think that, as most people think of planning lends itself to the trap of routine. And when I get into routine, things become automatic, and I stop noticing that which is arising. And it's the paying attention, the mindful attention to what's arising, and being willing in my plan to allow for, let's go outside the box here. Let's go outside the perimeter of this fence and see what goes on over there. It's not logical. I mean, Charles Handy in The Age of Unreason, or Csikszentmihalyi when he was talking about flow. This is where this lives. The unreasoned mind is not. Miracles are not logical. They extend far beyond that. The 41st girl was not a logical expectation for any of these administrators at these schools, or at the school, to anticipate. And it just, the girls got together and a miracle occurred. And it was a miracle because they were attending to something other than routine.
And everybody became more, including us as observers. We become more. So one of the hallmarks of the miraculous, it's not simply the conjunction of a whole stacking of synchronicity, coincidence upon coincidences, but it has a particular gift in that these empower us to become more awe-filled, more wonder-filled, more curious, more giddy with joy, more connected. We become more of who we can be, of who we really are.
I think, I'm going to throw in here too that as grandiose as this sounds, we live for it. We live for those moments. We live for the 41st Girl story. I'm thinking right now, even Barnett, I was going to say, I see a script here. I see a film, The 41st Girl. I mean, I think about it, and just tracking this girl's life and seeing what becomes of the 41st Girl and what miracles, like what impact she has on the world and what happenstance. I mean, it's always that level of happenstance. And if it hadn't have occurred, this plethora of possibility of unfolding, wouldn't have occurred. But so this whole thing, I'm saying that we almost rely at some point, like life is about the part we didn't know, right?
Mm. Yeah. Life happens between the cracks. I mean,
yeah.
So worried about things falling between the cracks. I think that's where the juice hits.
There's this one you're talking about.
Wait, you have to fall between the cracks of a commercial.
Oh, yes.
Sorry,
we have to step away. I'm going to put a pin in this sharing. We are going to step away, pay a few bills. We will be right back after.
And we'll talk about falling between the cracks.
After this word from our supporters.